Joining us now is the man we just heard referred to, Lee Atwater, the Republican National Committee Chairman. Mr. Atwater, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Are you as tough as they say you are?
No, I'm really a right lovable fella, but for some reason the Democrats don't seem to like me too much.
Well, let me ask you this. If Ron Brown is elected as chairman of the Democratic Party, as it now appears that he will be, is that going to be a wise move on the part of the Democrats? Does that work to their interest?
Well, Judy, I'm not going to get into the personalities involved and talk about any of the individuals. I know Ron Brown, and I think he's a competent professional. Their problem is not one of personality, it's one of issues. As long as they are the party whose first solution to every problem is to raise taxes and raise government spending, as long as they're viewed as soft on national defense, and as long as they continue to be really out of the mainstream and have a nominating process that is guaranteed to nominate Frost Belt liberals, as their process is, a guy like Sam Nunn doesn't even have a chance to get to first base, they've got a problem. And so it's no point getting into personalities. It's issues that really is their big problem.
Well, Mr. Brown clearly comes out of the liberal wing, if you want to call it that, of the Democratic Party. What does that say to you about what the Democrats have learned after losing the presidency for the last 3 times in a row?
Well, actually, Judy, I would have thought they would have learned a lesson after the Mondale debacle and not nominate another Frost Belt liberal. I think that was one of the big mistakes of 1984, so I was convinced that they would probably have an attack of sense of some sort and nominate maybe a Southerner or a Midwesterner or someone this time. But once again, they committed the same mistake and nominated a Frost Belt liberal with Dukakis. So that, again, it's not a matter of who the chairman of the party is. It's a matter of who the candidate for president is and what the party represents. And the party continues to represent out of the mainstream, big spending, big liberal government. And that's not what the American people want, and that's not what they're going to want as we look into the future. They want opportunity, they want jobs, they want low inflation, low tax rates, low unemployment, and low interest rates. And that's what they've been getting, and that's what they're going to continue getting as long as George Bush is president.
Well, you said you'd like to see the Republican Party reach out, among other things, to minority voters, including black voters. Would Mr. Brown's election as chairman, if indeed he's elected, how would that affect your appeal to black voters, or would it?
Well, I am convinced that we are not going to truly become a majority party as long as we, at the outset of these races, write off large chunks of the electorate. And that includes Afro-Americans, that includes large segments of the Hispanic population and the Asian population. And I think that we've got the right issues, we've got the right message, and I know we've got the right man as president with George Bush. So we are going to, as a party, which starts at the top with our leader, George Bush, and right on down to Dan Quayle and Jack Kemp, Senator Bob Dole, and many others, get our message out into these minority communities. And we are not going to be deterred by anyone or anything, if you want to know the truth.
Well, what do you mean when you say you want to be a majority party? I mean, some people would look at the successes that the Republicans have had at the White House the last 3 times and say, what more do you want? Isn't that enough? I mean, the Democrats have been stomped now for the last 3 presidential campaigns in a row.
Well, we've been very lucky, Judy, because they've done dumb thing after dumb thing. We just talked about some of it. And at some point, somebody is going to smarten up. I think you probably can smarten up a chump every now and then. And so we can't continue to base all of our strategy on the fact that the other guy's going to mess up all the time. The fact is that we are not going to be a true minority unless we include large segments of every bit of this electorate. We've got the right message. We've got the right personalities in our party. We've now got to get our message and get out and be more inclusive than we've been in the last 10 years. And the time is right. That's what the people in this party want. I got back from New Jersey today. I was in South Carolina last week. That's what the people in this party want, and that's what we're going to go out and do.
You say you want to reach out, and yet as you know, in Louisiana, for example, there is a gentleman running for a state legislature seat who is a former member of the Ku Klux Klan. He's running as a Republican. How do you deal with a situation like that? Is that somebody you're comfortable supporting as chairman of the National Party?
No, I'm not comfortable supporting him. I can't do anything about him running because it's a free country. But I would, right now, take this moment to denounce him. And I certainly hope he loses that contest because our party does not have room for a candidate of that nature in a race. And I certainly hope he gets soundly defeated. And I would certainly do anything I could to help defeat him.
You were, as you know, and others in the Bush campaign were criticized a fair amount. There was a lot of criticism going around about the negative tone of last year's presidential campaign. Should we resign ourselves to that being the sort of campaign we're going to see now at the state and local level, and then at the presidential level again when that rolls around in another 4 years?
No, I don't think so, Judy. We are going to try to run a positive, upbeat set of campaigns out of the Republican National Committee. You've seen President Bush this week. You've seen the tone that he has set. That's the tone he wants. By the same token, we will not hesitate to draw a line in the dust on issues because there are issues that separate these two parties, and I think it's fair to discuss them. For instance, as I said earlier, taxes. You take any Republican anywhere in this country, anytime, and he will tell you his or her last resort to any problem is to raise taxes. You take any Democrat anywhere, anytime, and don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. First solution, anytime, anywhere, to any problem is to raise taxes. So as long as there are these kind of critical differences between the parties, we will continue to point them out. But we're going to be factual, we're going to be positive, and we're going to be upbeat.
And yet, during the campaign, there was a great deal of talk, as we heard Mr. Gergen and Mr. Shields refer to a minute ago, about the Pledge of Allegiance, the Massachusetts furlough program, Willie Horton, and so forth and so on. We don't hear about any of that anymore.
Well, because those matters have been settled. The voters settled them very conclusively. That was what the campaign was all about. There's no particular reason to continue an argument or a dialogue about a matter that's been settled. We've got too many problems facing us ahead, and the president, myself, and others in our party are trying to deal with the future. The Democrats never deal with the future, so you will probably hear them still bickering and moaning. But the fact is, we're looking ahead. We settled those problems. That's what the campaign was all about, Judy.
A lot of people are saying that we're seeing the kinder, gentler George Bush now that he's in the White House. Are we also going to see a kinder, gentler Republican Party?
Well, certainly we are, particularly with President Bush in the White House and people like me in the party.
And what does that mean to you?
What does it mean?
A kinder, gentler. I meant that in a facetious way.
Well, it means that the American people are going to continue to have low interest rates. They're not going to get their taxes raised. They're going to have low unemployment. That's the kind of society that makes for a kinder and gentler atmosphere in this country, Judy.
Last question, Lee. You made an interesting face when you were on the stage with the president last weekend. Could you repeat that for us before?
Judy, I couldn't do that. That's like coming up to somebody and saying, "Could you tell me a joke, funny joke?" You can't do it right on the spot.
We're teasing with you, but Lee Atwater, once again, we thank you for being with us.
Well, it's fun to be here. Thank you for having me, Judy.